Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm in a bad mood, so I'm gonna sit down and film this video and pray that I can get through it. But today's video we're going to be talking about gauges. So I started gauging my ears when I was in my freshman year of high school. So I was in 9th grade, which is when high school starts in most places in America, I think. And I wanted to gauge my ears. So I remember back in I think back in 8th grade is when I first wanted to start gauging my ears. And I went to like Spencer's or Hot Topic and I bought some like tapering kits or like tapers basically to start gauging my ears, and my grandmother like threw them away. Like, I spent my own money on them and my grandma was like, no, you can't have these, and she literally just took them from me and threw it away. Like, took them from me as in like I like went to like a friend's house or whatever and came back and they were like gone type of thing. So anyway, then in high school, after I moved out from living with my grandmother, I started to gauge my ears again, and I went all the way up to a 7/16 and then decided about 2 years ago that I just wasn't interested in having them anymore. So this video is just talking about my experience with gauges and, you know, all of that stuff. So I have in this box, which is a Teavana box, that I labeled at the top called Body Jewelry. And if you can hear it, there's quite a lot of things in this box. So I might as well just like use this for other stuff since I can. But I have this box within that other box. It is a, what does this say? It says, today is your day to be amazing. I don't know where I got this box from. It was $5 though, or this little like, I don't know, suctional thing. But it has all of my gauges in it pretty much since I started gauging my ears. So for the longest time I stopped at a size 0. I stopped at a size 0 for probably a couple years. But how gauge sizes work, if you're not familiar, is your numbers get, as your numbers get smaller, your size gets bigger. So I started off gauging my ears at a 14 gauge with a taper, and I don't know if I still have a 14 gauge. I mean, these are technically, this isn't like a, what is this, like a bag that you get? Okay, I'm going off on a tangent, I'm sorry, that's just like how my brain works. I can't start one thing without starting other things. So these pieces of jewelry in here, it'll focus. These jewelry pieces are a 14 gauge. And it comes in this bag. The reason why this bag says 7mm is because I went to Disney World apparently on December 20th of 2010, and we went to Japan in Epcot, and you could pick out your oyster and keep the pearl inside the oyster, and they give you a bag, they tell you how big your pearl is, you can get it made into a necklace, whatever. Anyway, but I decided to put these in this bag. So those are 14 gauged, what are they called? Not like hoops, but like pinchers, I think is the name for it. And I think those are all the 14 gauges that I have, because I have a lot of size 0 and other sizes, but I don't have that many 14s. This might be a 14 gauge. I'm not sure, but I don't have a match to it. So this is a taper. Again, I know it's like kind of hard to see, plus this is like a clear type taper, but it is like pretty small. But trust me, if you get your ears pierced a normal size gauge for ear piercings, a taper, especially even a 14 gauge, which looks really tiny, you're gonna feel it when you start to gauge your ears. That is, oh, here's the match. That is assuming that you don't already get your ears pierced, gauged. You know, some people get like punches, and they punch their ears and it's already gauged, but I'm pretty sure these are size 14. If not, they're maybe like a size 12, but I'm pretty sure these are size 14. So like I said before, gauge sizes, as the number goes up, the size gets bigger. So 14 gauge is what I started with, then I moved from a 14 to a 12 to a 10, and then to an 8, and then I think I went from an 8 to a 4, and then a 4 to a 0. And my 0 gauge is like, a 0 is about this size gauge, and as you can tell, so I gauged both of my earlobe piercings, you know, back in the day. I got up to a 7/16. I'll insert a picture here of what that looks like. But then I took them out and they didn't size down completely. They, my second earlobe piercing, I'm pretty sure sized down completely. My first earlobe piercing, you might can tell that it is still a decent size hole compared to a normal ear piercing, but definitely not like this size. So it's not quite a 0, but it is, let's see, what is this? This looks like this might be not a 2, what am I thinking of? Maybe like a 4? Yeah, so this is comfortable in my ear. So this is about the size of my ear lobe hole, which is, I think, size 4. I don't know, it's been a long time since I've, you know, tried gauges and all that stuff, so it did shrink back down. My earlobe did shrink back down from a 7/16, which is this size, to about this size. So it did, you know, shrink significantly, which is good for me. Some people don't. Some people have to go through like reconstructive surgery and have their earlobes reconstructed basically in order to get it to go back down, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But so I went from a size 14 to a size 2, and you know, so on and so forth. Here's a couple of other like size differences as I started to get larger gauges, and then like to this, which I think this is probably, if not a 0, a 2. And then like I said, when I hit 0, I think this might be a 7/16. I always gauged my ears with tapers. So whenever I started to stretch my ears and go a size up, I would always do that with tapers. So the name is kind of self-explanatory. They taper from a smaller to a larger size. And then I would leave the tapers in. What I would do, for me, at least what worked best for me, is when you gauge your ears and when you stretch your ears, it hurts just because you're stretching skin. That's what you're doing. You're literally stretching out your skin, and it is gonna hurt, but it's not that bad. It's like kind of a little stingy feeling, and you know, it's not that bad at all. But what I did was I would, whenever I wanted to size up in my gauges, I would hop in the shower, get the shower all hot and steamy, and that helps to kind of like, hotness helps open up your pores, and it also helps to like, you know, stretch out your skin basically. And then I would take my taper, whichever size I wanted, I think this is a 0, and then I would take out whatever gauge I had and slowly push this through my ear. And like I said, it is gonna hurt, but it shouldn't hurt too bad if you're doing it correctly. So again, gauging and stretching your ears, if you go from like this size to immediately something this size, you might have some issues. So one of the issues that you can have when stretching your ears is called a blowout. I'm pretty sure it's called a blowout. Basically what can happen is you can just damage your ear, like really bad. I've never experienced that, but you can experience, I'm pretty sure it's called a blowout, and it's not good for you. It's not good for your ear, it's not good for you, and you're basically traumatizing your ear is what you're doing. So you don't want to do that. So if you are thinking about gauging your ears, I would suggest to take it, you know, one size up, and I would wait at least a week in between sizing up to give your ears some time to heal and chill out and not, you know, be freshly stretched. So I would stick my gauge in, let it, you know, stay in overnight. I would get out of the shower, keep my gauges in, go to bed. I would wake up in the morning and my ears would be fine. When I went to bed, my ears were a little sore, they were a little tender, but as soon as I woke up in the morning, they felt fine. And then I would take whatever size I had just sized up to and take like a more flattering piece of jewelry, at least to me. So I would take like a glow-in-the-dark one, which is cool, or I would take something like this, which are plugs. So they are self-explanatory. They plug your ear hole basically, and they have this little rubberized piece in the back that helps keep it in your ear, and that's what I would wear mostly in my gauges. I have a couple of like neat looking gauges. I have these, which are like spiral gauges. I have those also in a size 2, I believe. And then I have a zebra stripe one, probably in a 0. And then I also have a couple of pinchers, which are like horseshoe shaped. Have a couple of different of those, but mainly I have plugs. So if you want me to, I can go through this whole collection of gauges. There are a lot. I got a lot of my gauges from like Spencer's and Hot Topic, but I did order a couple of them off of like Etsy. Like these, I think I ordered off of Etsy. These are a size 0. It's a little mustache. And I had like nice ones for like nice occasions. These I think are 7/16, but they are like a, not like a diamond, but like a fancier gem type gauge. And I have another one in a gold color. So the first one I showed you was like a silver. This one is more of a gold. So I would wear those for like special occasions. And I have actually special gauges that I wore for prom. So those gauges were actually pretty expensive. I think they were about $75, but they were size 7/16 and they were dangly, and I wore them for prom, and I don't have them here with me. I think they're in one of my purses. Actually, I think they're in the purse that I used for prom that year. But if I can, I will try to find them and insert a picture. I also have these, which are super cute. They're like little ice cream cones, and they have the gauge back there, so they just kind of, you know, dangle down in your ear. They're really cute. I really did enjoy having them. I had a lot of fun ones. I had a lot of cute ones. My family members hated them, but that's totally fine. To each her own, I guess. But I have so many gauges in this box. So if you want me to go through this whole like collection of gauges, I can totally do that. But other than that, my experience with gauging has been very easy, and I didn't take them out for any other reason besides I just wanted to. So I had gauges for a really long time. Like I said, I started stretching my ears when I was a freshman in high school, and now I am a third-year student in college. So I guess when I stopped gauging my ears though was probably freshman year in college. So about 4 years I had my ears gauged, and I had, like I said, I had a size 0 in my first lobe for about a year, and it took me about a year to get up to a size 0, and then I went from a size 0 to a 7/16, and that took a couple of months, and then I stayed at a 7/16 for about another 1 or 2 years, and then I decided to take them out. But I really enjoyed having them. There aren't many, you know, downsides to gauges in terms of like, you know, what can go wrong, I guess. The only thing I would say is, you know, people kind of look at you weird, you know, people are like, oh, like, you have big holes in your ears, you know. I used to be able to stick pencils through my ears. I could stick like the tip end of my pinky through my ear up to like, actually I think I could stick it up to like my second knuckle. I could stick my pinky through my ear. But yeah, you can do cool little party tricks like that. Some people think it's gross, some people think it's cool, whatever. Family members were not pleased with it. I remember one time I had my hair up and I had my circle gauges in so you could see through them, and I was out with my grandmother and my aunt, and my grandmother is to a point where she's like, she doesn't like the things that I do, but she doesn't really complain too much. She's just like, whatever. But my aunt had never like seen my gauges, and I had my hair up, and she like turned to me and she goes, I can see through your ears. And I'm like, yeah. And so she's also like one of those people who's really like, I don't know, she has her panties wound up tight, I guess, but she's not a big fan of any type of body modification, nor is my grandmother, but whatever. So the only downside to me really is you kind of get strange looks from people, and some workplaces don't like them. But I think many workplaces are becoming more comfortable with gauges. I think tattoos is like the big thing right now, that people are like, ooh, don't get tattoos, we don't like tattoos. Gauges are kind of like more subtle, unless you have like big massive like 2-inch gauges. Like most people are like, whatever. But like I said, I didn't take my gauges out for work. I didn't take them out for anybody but myself. I took them out because I decided like I miss having like, you know, little studs like, you know, this one, and I miss having little dangly earrings, and finding dangly gauges is really hard. Like I miss having hoops, I miss having like whatever. So I missed having like normal earrings, so I decided to take out my 7/16 completely. I had stretched my second earlobe piercing to a size 6, and I kept it at that. And then what I ended up doing for my 7/16 is I just took them out completely, let them go down on their own. What I did for my second lobe piercing, I was a little bit more concerned that if I took them out that they would close up completely, and I didn't want that. So I actually ended up slowly sizing down. So instead of sizing up in gauges, I would size down. So I would take out my size 6, put in a size like 10, leave that in for a little bit, take it out, put in a size like, I don't know, 12, take it out, put in a size 14, you know, and I would slowly go down in size until my, you know, earlobe piercing closed up to a normal earring size, and then I just popped a stud in. And I don't take these out because, again, I am still a little concerned that if I take them out that they'll close up completely, so I keep these studs in all the time. They're sterling silver, so they're perfectly fine to have in, you know, over time. And so every now and then, you know, I'll take it out, clean it, all that stuff, just for like sanitary purposes, not because it needs to be like healed or anything, just because like I want to clean my ears. And for my 7/16, I just took them out and I watched them like progressively go down. I watched my earlobe hole shrink basically, and I kept an eye on it. And every now and then I would find like a gauge, I would stick it in there to kind of gauge which size it was at. And once it got down to about a size, probably about a size, whatever size I just showed you that fit in my ear, I kept an eye on it. So I didn't know what was going to happen with this earlobe piercing because it was stretched so big compared to like a normal earring size. I didn't know if it was going to close up. I didn't know if it was going to go down completely. I didn't know how much, if at all, that my earlobe would shrink. And this is the size that it decided to shrink down to, and it hasn't gone down any more than that, which I'm totally fine with. It doesn't bother me at all. I can wear normal earrings. Studs, I can wear studs, but I have to wear those like big plastic backings on it in order for them to like not slip through my ear, because the stud can totally slip through that hole. So that's the only thing that I have to keep in mind when I want to wear studs. Hoop earrings, no big deal. But like I said, I really enjoyed having gauges. I didn't really see a big downside to it. Again, the only real danger of having gauges is if you size up too quickly, you can damage your ear, which is not a good thing. Also, you have to keep in mind that if you do size too big and you do have like big 2-inch gauges, if you ever wanted to size down, your only option at that point is reconstructive surgery, because your earlobe is this big like is now this big saggy piece of flesh basically, and that's not going to like just shrink back up. So you are going to have to get reconstructive surgery if at some point you decide, you know, you want to size down or whatever, which I hear is not, you know, too terrible. They just kind of, you know, snip off the excess skin and sew it back together, and you heal, and then you get like a brand new earlobe basically. So it doesn't sound great, but you know, just keep that in mind if you are considering gauging your ears or stretching your ears. Just keep those things in mind. But yeah, I think that's everything I have to say about gauges. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below. But that's everything I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Go down below, subscribe, hit that bell icon to get notified of when I upload videos. So I've been super slack on videos, but I'm feeling okay by the end of this video. The start of this video I was in a bad mood. Now I'm feeling pretty good, so we're at a good place right now. But anyway, I hope you guys are having an awesome day. If you're not, I hope you have a better day. I hope you push forward through whatever is troubling you. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!